But my dad actually did not want me
Oh,
to
surprising.
be an actress. I think, but it comes from experience. So I know that he said that because he's been in the industry for so long and he's seen a lot, and he himself was like, I don't. If you want to live a good, happy, stable life, don't be an actor.
For today's Humans of KL video podcast, we have a very young and talented actress on set. Her name is Mia Shauki. You might have seen her on a few TV shows, films, or even theater where I actually saw her. Her dad is well known as a director, producer, and also an actor himself, Afdlin Shauki. And Mia today will tell us about how it is like to be a young female full-time actress, trying to progress and climb up the ranks here in the Malaysian entertainment industry. So, Mia, thank you for doing this podcast with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Okay, so yes, tell us a little bit about yourself.
About myself, I'm currently a full-time freelance actress. I've been in the film and TV industry since 2019, but I have been dabbled into theatre since high school. So I've had that experience for a while, but I've also kind of grew up with my parents, learning about theatre, learning about film, visiting sets, and that's what I can say about myself at the time. Yeah.
I last saw you at, correct me if I'm wrong, Titus Andronicus
Yes, correct.
and also Cinderella. It's a theater. And you're now, even today, you're on the way to going for another shoot. Tell us a little bit about your work that you've done so far.
I guess the most notable works that I can point out would be my first industry job was for a spin-off of the Disney Channel's Wizards of Waverly Place, which the Malaysian version is called Wizards of Wanna Walk, which did very well in the Philippines. Other than that, I would say my other notable works have been with Astro. I've done a few Astro originals like Hysteria, the series, and Riot. Other than that, I've done films that are currently on Netflix, which are Dead Boys Club and also Trobo, also known as The Screaming Sky, if you'd like to check that out on Netflix. A Aisha on View, and a few dramas here and there. Yeah.
So, like, how did you decide? Like, why did you decide to become an actress, and how was the journey like? Like, did you go to school for it? Like, did you have a degree or diploma in it?
I was heavily influenced as a child because I grew up with family members, my parents, and also my peers who were my parents' friends. I was always surrounded by art, whether it was visual performance, music. It was there all the time as a child. So growing up, I became a bit more aware and like was very quick to understand what it meant to be a performance artist and or an actor or director producer, and I took the opportunity to go and study it overseas at the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, and that's where I acquired my diploma in acting. Yeah.
And getting your first break, was it? What would you say was your first break? The first big break?
I would say it was that Wizards of Wanna Walk show. Even that, because it was like a big audition process. I think they auditioned about almost 1,000 family members or 800, I can't remember. And they, out of like the 800, they had to pick 5 family members. And it just so happened that I was also cast alongside my dad. And me and my dad didn't plan this at all. We just like auditioned separately. I didn't even tell my dad I was going to audition, and he didn't even tell me. And then we just found out we made it. So that was the most fun one, and I guess I would say it was my big break. Yeah.
And like doing this full time, I mean, we've all heard of the struggling model, the struggling actress, struggling photographer. Um, yeah, so like in 1 month, how many shoots do you have, and are you able to like earn enough?
Well, because given that I'm freelance, and for this line of work, you kind of have to be freelance. It's not like you are given a job every month. if I were to take, for example, let's say 2 years ago, I was doing 3 to 5 shoots a year, which is a lot because it's like each shoot can maximum take 2 months. But if I were to say this year, I've only done one shoot in the entire year. So if I were to rely on just doing shoots as my bread and butter, it's very, what's the word? It's inconvenient, I guess, is one, but there's no stability in that. So it really depends. Like unless a lot of like your big A-list actors or celebrities out there are making money because of other things like sponsorships, ambassadorships, which I currently don't have. So if I just were to rely on these things, it's actually not sustainable. I wouldn't say it's the most sustainable job.
What are you doing on the side then to make ends meet?
I only just recently applied for a teaching job, which I can't say where, but like that is like the only form of stability I can have aside from waiting for work to come. And I will say per job, it pays pretty well. But if you want to compare like the Malaysian industry to like industries out there, not as great given there are a lot of things like no insurance on set. There is travel, you handle that on your own, safety and stuff like that. You take what you can get with the money you get paid with, basically.
Being an actress nowadays, I mean, in the Malaysian industry especially, I mean, tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes. Because how is the Malaysian entertainment industry? Is it well organized? Is it doing well? Does it need more budget?
I mean, I won't be the first to say this. There's a lot of people, and my dad is also one of them who's been saying it for the past, I would say, 40 years, 30 years. But I do feel like there are a lot of things that are missing in the industry, which includes, financial stability for a lot of workers in the industry. We technically, okay, I can't say this as a fact. We technically don't have like a union body that can help us protect each other compared to other unions like the Voice Guild, which really protects their talents. And because doing acting is a very broad thing where you have to really cover all bases like your insurance, your safety, your health, and yada, 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 I guess no one has decided to like properly implement those rules yet. So that's one issue that we have. Aside from that, there's also the appreciation for it because, it's almost like an Asian parenting thing where it's like you ask your kid what they want to do, they say they want to be an actor, and most people say you should do something that will, be more of use or make you more money. And that usually comes from the lack of education of performing arts that is implemented in our education system in Malaysia. So yeah, there's a lot.
We'll touch on that later in the podcast. But when you were telling your parents that you wanted to be an actress, I'm sure they were okay with it, right?
Actually, no. My mom was pretty okay, but my dad actually did not want me to
surprising.
be an actress. I think, but it comes from experience. So I know that he said that because he's been in the industry for so long and he's seen a lot, and he himself was like, if you want to live a good, happy, stable life, don't be an actor. And lo and behold, I kind of went against his wishes, and I kind of had to prove to him that I could do it. He kind of was like, if you want to do it, you do it on your own. You pay for it yourself.
Oh, wow.
I'm not gonna like hold your hand with this.
You mean like you're even going abroad?
Yeah, so when I went to study abroad, I actually saved up my own
God.
money to go and study myself.
Okay, that's interesting. Like, all this while, I thought maybe he was the big driver for you being an actress, but
No, not really. It was more my mom.
I
But
see.
it's only because my dad, he kind of wanted the best for me in terms of how I live my life.
Yeah, understandable.
And he actually wanted me to do a degree in business,
I
which
see.
for me, like growing up with a family who's full of arts, I was kind of like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Business? Yeah.
So how did you manage? I mean, that must have cost a fortune going to the acting school, right?
No, I was very lucky because the course I did was mostly an online course. So I did most of it in KL. And then the last bit of the course, which was like my final assessment, I had to fly there. But it was pretty affordable, I would say. Like total for 8 months, it was about 20,000
Oh,
ringgit.
yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
compared to like some schools that I've been in Malaysia where the degree for entirety of 3 years is about 300,000 ringgit,
Oh my God,
which is a
that's
lot. Yeah.
yeah, that's like a flight school being a pilot already.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say I was pretty lucky to have found that course at that price as well.
I mean, I myself am curious, being an actor or an actress, like, what's your routine like every day? How do you, like exercise? How do you like maintain your sharpen your skill set? Yeah.
I always believe in going for auditions and workshops. There's a certain point where you will get called for jobs because you're well known, but I don't believe in that. Once you start to get calls for work, you would have to stop kind of training yourself as an actor. So I would go for any workshops I see. I will always hone my skills in those ways. I don't believe in like I because I've made it this far, I can stop at where I am. Other than that, I've taken up other skills like here and there. For example, actually a lot of actors are very good based on experience. So if let's say you need to do a character that has to ride a motorcycle, then I will go take a motorcycle license. It's things like that. With whatever I can afford, I will try to apply for certain skill workshops, and it's a very, I would say, living your life to the fullest potential in a way where you push yourself to do things that you wouldn't usually do in your
Yeah,
everyday
yeah.
life. Yeah.
Um, oh yeah. So like, you had to convince your dad, right? Like, so how did you manage to convince him actually in the end?
I had to do things on my own, basically. So I kind of convinced him when I got that Disney job with him, and he himself was surprised that I got it, and so he was like, "Okay, I can help you and give you advice, but I'm not gonna hold your hand. You have to prove to me that if you really want it, you pay for it for yourself, like in terms of education. I I can I can tell you who are the best people to work with
Yeah.
or like and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you need to handle that yourself. Like you need to go and communicate with these people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
People might have misconceptions about you, growing up under your dad's shadow. Yeah,
Yes.
you were also very transparent to me about it. That's very honest of you. How has it then been, getting jobs and thriving in this industry when you have your dad's last name? Has it helped or, yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely much luckier than the average like actor who wants to masuk the industry, like get into the industry, without having the benefit of a specific name in their IC. And I would say I would probably be the worst person to ask for like certain advice of how to get into the industry, given that I have been so lucky to have that.
In a way, you still have to work for it, like literally
I
work for
still
it.
do,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I would also consider myself just based on if we're looking at the industry, there's this very big thing about having followers, and I'm not one of those people. I'm very niche in the sense where I stick to a certain demographic of people. I like certain type of art. I love expressing the type of art, and I love expressing about the education system, which is not really a mass thing to follow. So if I were to do those sort of things, then I would have to change my whole persona in public to gain a bigger following, which also means getting better jobs. Yeah, that's.
Like, so far, what has been your most challenging acting role?
I would say I mean there's a few, like I would say there's challenging acting roles in the sense of like the workplace environment was challenging. And I would also say challenging in terms of like as an actor, I can't meet this certain. I'm not sure if I can meet that certain level of performance. I would say the last one I did, which was Titus Andronicus, was like pretty difficult for as an actor.
Why so? Is it because of the script? It's a
Uh,
Shakespearean script.
I wouldn't say it's because of the script. Only because like in school I did study Shakespeare, so it was much easier for me. But it was more of the characterization, because that the character I played is originally a man, and he is a rapist in the play. So it's kind of difficult to navigate what would a female rapist be like, and how can a woman put like inflict violence onto another woman, for example. And yeah, I would say that was probably the most challenging one. Yeah.
In your acting sets, do you feel like, especially, and you're also young, so do you feel like do people look down on you perhaps due to your young age?
Um, it really depends. There are a lot of really friendly people in the industry, and I find that uh, the kind ones will come to you. It's you don't have to like go search for these people, but of course it's very good to like go out there, put yourself out there to be known. In terms of being looked down on, I mean, there have been cases because of my name. For example, I've been told, why aren't you performing as well as your dad? And
Ouch, yeah.
yeah, so I get a lot of comparisons like that. And in terms of age, not really. It's more of just the familial comparison that I would get, those type of remarks.
What is your like future, not role, but what is your future like? What do you want to do in the future? Like future aim? Do you want to be a director? Do you want to act in this certain type of movie? Do you want to go to the US and be a famous Hollywood actress? Ke?
Yeah. As when I was, if you asked me that question 5 years ago, I probably would say I want to be a Hollywood actress. But something changed when I studied in the UK for those 8 months. Just getting to see what the environment is like, it really made me feel very thankful for what I have here, despite a lot of things, obviously, which needs to be changed. So I wouldn't say that's my top priority. If it comes, like, okay, nice, bonus. But I think my priority at the moment is to, yes, I want to be a director one day. I do have, I've written like film scripts since I was 16 years old,
I
which I
see.
haven't touched. So I hopefully, yeah, one day want to make films of my own.
What is one role or movie that you want to do one day? You're looking forward to do one day?
Um, a role I would like to be challenged, I guess. I would say I have been typecasted in a lot of roles which are tomboyish or rebellious girl in the industry, I would say, in the film and TV industry, or high school student. And I don't get enough of like anything else. So I would like to try something that's like that. Maybe even a lead in a rom-com is a challenge for me because I haven't gotten that opportunity. So yeah.
As a woman and also in the show business industry, looks, does look matter more than names perhaps? And is that a thing that you struggle as well when it comes to personal beauty?
Um, I I would say in this type of industry, I mean, yeah, there's definitely going to be some biases in terms of like how you look, and uh, I will say myself, I can't really comment because I do get comments saying that I'm very pretty. So if I get comments like that, I can't really say what it's like for people who don't have those
Yeah,
features
yeah.
and whatever.
But do you struggle with personal beauty at least? Like, you always have to maintain.
Personally, no, I don't really care. I mean, I have got comments where I am not skinny enough for TV, which I find is very appalling because I like how I look in the mirror. So, but when I get those comments, I don't really care. Like, I'm very secure with how my body is,
Yeah, yeah,
like how I am, enough to just push those jobs away and just look
yeah.
for something else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, like a lot of us, especially in our early 20s, we struggle with our looks and even me. But yeah, so you managed to. I mean, did anyone teach you, or like, how did you get over that? How did you overcome that?
I guess it comes from having parents who really believe in that sort of mindset. Like, even with my dad, he has done he's done films. He's also done like stand-up comedy gigs about his weight and what it's like to be a big man, basically. And can you be like a lead actor doing like having this type of body type? And he's proved to say yes, I can. So I think, and he really was about the mindset of like, don't like give a damn like what people have to say, because the more you don't give a damn, the more you are okay with being embarrassed by yourself, you will have less to worry about in your life. And that's something that's really stuck with me. And as many times as I think as people think I'm embarrassing, I just see it as like, I mean, I have this one life to live. I might as well just do something stupid in public if I have to, you know?
Has there been any embarrassing moments that you want to share?
Embarrassing moments? I wouldn't. Well, it's very hard to ask me that now, only because I'm very used to doing anything that I don't consider as embarrassing, but maybe people around me would. And it's things like if I go to a show or a gig, or there's that sort of societal thing where people don't clap because they don't know who the performance is. But I would be the type of person who will go front stage, will be dancing, singing, clapping, and try to get people around. Like, that's the type of thing I would do.
Yeah.
Some people might find that embarrassing, but I just think, hey, they need someone to support them, you know?
Actually, like I grew up abroad. My dad was a diplomat, and whenever people perform or sing, we would stand up, say bravo, and clap
Yeah.
to show appreciation. Tau.
Yes,
But I
betul.
realized when we go back to Malaysia, my mom's in the arts before she was in a small time actress. We would go and stand up and show appreciation. Even those buskers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they trying to do something and they don't even get money sometimes. They just want to get applause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I also realized from Malaysian culture. We're a little bit more reserved.
Yes.
We're conservative about that. Your journey thus far in being an actor slash actress, how has it changed your perspective in life?
It has a lot of like positives and also a lot of negatives, I would say. I would say working in theatre is much more pleasant, much more enjoyable. I would say it is a very euphoric experience coming out of it compared to TV and film. Not saying that all of TV and film is horrible. I have worked on very pleasant sets. But I would say a majority of ones I've worked at have had very negative or just like unpleasant like situations. In terms of like the positives I've had, like I said, like as an actor, I find that I get to live life to its fullest potential by wanting to experience more so I can be a better actor, which is quite a very privileged life, I would say, to live. And in terms of the negatives, I've also had to deal with the financial problems, timing. You never get like a proper sleep schedule because sometimes you might work overtime and you can't really ask for more money in terms of overtime. Workplace harassment is very common in certain places, and it's just a matter of whether you are able to handle this so you can have like this, you know? Yeah.
The workplace harassment, without naming names or whatnot,
Yeah.
is it the usual catcalling kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, from what I've experienced, I've experienced things like through text, like certain things like that's very inappropriate for a colleague to say things to you, and especially after work hours.
I see.
Yeah, and I would say there was some types of like grooming that was happening with like an authoritative figure in my workplace. Yeah, those are like, I guess, to touch base on like the things I've experienced.
The grooming too, like what do you mean, like grooming in what way?
It was
What
like
sense?
it was like my first time experience for a certain project, and I was told like they made my character a certain way that I was not comfortable with, and they would say like, hey, if you get on call with me every night at 12 a.m., I can speak to you about how to make your character better. And then when we would go on those calls, he would try to like get me into a vulnerable position to talk about my traumas, and then he would try to get me comfortable with him so I can open up to him about anything.
I see.
Yeah.
12 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's we always hear the stories of things happening in any industry. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be show business. It's
Yeah.
women face this discrimination or things which are not supposed to happen professionally, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, in a way, I'm glad to know that you have a very strong character of strength and you managed to. I mean, so far you have managed to handle it well. You mentioned a lot that in the Malaysian show business entertainment industry, a lot of things can be changed, and also about the education system.
Yep.
So yeah, you wanna
Yeah.
briefly talk to us about that?
Sure. I would say that a lot of our appreciation, a lot of our funding, everything that people in the industry and in the film and TV industry and also in the theatre industry can benefit from is if we had implemented education in performing arts in our Malaysian like education system.
Yeah,
Yes. Because I do feel like there's a lot that students or children can learn in terms of what it means to be human through the performing arts. And I do find that when it comes to the argument of like performing arts is not important, I have to simply disagree because without it, I don't think we would be able to feel feelings, emotions, what it means to hurt each other, what it means to care for each other properly without seeing it in front of us, you know? And there was a quote that I always go back to, which is from this documentary, from Mak Yong documentary. And the quote was, to bear witness to a performance is to be touched forever, which I really agree with. And I think a lot of children, a lot of people can fully appreciate what it means to have this outlet for people to make art and also for people to enjoy art in the way that they should if we had that education implemented in our system. So, yeah.
I was lucky and privileged to have gone to an international school where performing arts was actually a class that you can take for the whole
Yes.
year, and the production quality was great. And that's how you have these young students who graduate and go on to go on theater or modeling or acting jobs, and they're very good. Malaysia, I understand, we're not there yet. We're not getting there yet. Yes, we have a few arts academies and universities, but yeah, a lot of people say like the state of the industry is not as good or as fun as it should be and whatnot. You're also a Gen Z, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, till end of the millennial, you're Gen Z.
Yeah.
If you could direct a movie or a series, how different would it be than nowadays?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of factors. It depends on which angle you want to like say. In terms of like, as a Gen Z person making a film today, I would say probably, at least in my experience, like there will be a bit more care on like our sets, make sure like there's like really good pre-production before the production happens so that everything is settled, nothing is rushed. I would say in terms of the type of content, it may be a bit difficult because not everyone wants to watch a Gen Z film in the cinemas. You know, a lot of people want to watch something. I would say like your average Marvel film is pretty millennial in terms of like the type of content they say and or type of humor, but generally they have a lot of content that is it appeals to everyone. You know, so yeah, I would say those would be kind of difficult, and also in the sense where in this industry, I would need to have a lot of followers, maybe. Yeah.
I read a comment on TikTok that Millie Bobby Brown, she's a Stranger Things actress. She doesn't even watch movies nowadays because she can sit still and watch 1 hour 30 minutes long. The first question they ask is how long it is, and then someone mentioned that if a Gen Z were to make films, it will only be 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of curious because right now, of course, in the industry, we have those who are much more older, holding the financial power to produce the films that they want. But what would it look like for a Gen Z production with a Gen Z cast? Yeah, I've also thought about that.
I mean, if you're asking me, like, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I am such a cinephile that I love films. And I would take my time if I were to make a film, if I had the time. So yeah, maybe you could ask another Gen Z person this question. Yeah.
Um, what have you been struggling with recently?
Struggling with paying my bills on time. Yeah, as a freelance actor, that's what I'm struggling with at the moment. Other than that, nothing. Everything is fine. I need work.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
hire me, please.
Hi,
Hire me,
hi,
please,
guys.
please, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Do you prefer doing more of the TVCs, television commercials, or more of like the films, or more like the TV series?
I would say I've only done two TVCs and very different experiences doing a film, doing a series, and also doing TVCs. TVCs are very fast paced, high pressure, and usually within 1 or 2 days. So unless you are a cast member, everything else is quite chaotic. If you're a cast member, I think it's pretty easy. Like, you go in, you go out.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of series, it depends on what type of series you're talking about. If you're talking about like a limited series, a bit more premium like Astro, View, Unify, or Netflix, those are usually pretty good in terms of pay. Your work hours are not that long, but still a bit stressful. If you were to go on like a TV3 drama, I've heard that the work hours are really long, really tiring, but you get paid very well. So it's whether you want to like put yourself through that.
I remember volunteering to be like there was a TV show, TV crew for RTM or something, TV3. I'm not sure. They were shooting at the office, so I had to jaga the production in case they needed to open some doors or whatever it is. And they were shooting until 12. And I told my boss I need to go back home because I have to come back 12 the next day.
Yeah.
And the next day I realized that they were still shooting that scene until 6 a.m. in the morning. And I remember I was working part time for TVC just for fun.
Yeah.
And they were shooting up until 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And for just one photo or for one video shot, it was
Yeah.
crazy, insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I have worked on a set where there was one day I had literally spent 24 hours on that set. So, and it was in a studio. So when I entered the studio, it was 7 a.m. like sunrise. And when
Yeah.
I left the studio, it was 7 a.m. sunrise. It just felt like times didn't move outside, and I was just in this hellish like,
Time capsule.
yeah,
shot, yeah.
time capsule. Yeah.
Your dad, has he taught you anything valuable, like in terms of your acting career? What is the best advice he has given you?
I would say don't give a damn. Yeah, that's his best advice that he's ever given me. Other than that, he has been very helpful in terms of like how if I'm not sure who to talk to in terms of like certain things in the industry, he will point out these people, but he'll say you go contact them yourself. So I think that's like the best help I can get. Other than that, I do sit down and talk to him, but most of the time he actually doesn't answer those questions for me, and I think that's because he wants me to figure it out myself most of the time. Yeah.
What has been the most rewarding part? Stepping out of your father's shadow
Um, I
and,
w-
and making your own mark.
I would say, it would be quite rewarding to have my own work be noticed and seen as like my own thing. And I do think there are people who do see me as that. I mean, there have been like funny stories where my dad have been in public and a few Gen Z people will go up to him and will ask him where's Mia Sara Shauki? When it used to be like the other way around,
Yeah.
where it's like they come and see me, it's like, where's Afdlin Shauki, you
Yeah.
know? So there has been like that, but I would also say there's also been a rewarding aspect of being my father's daughter as well, because to kind of like separate myself fully from that would be kind of selfish of me, because he has given me a lot of opportunities. Just even being born like with him as a father is a privilege, you
Yeah.
know. So it's rewarding in both ways, having a dad like him and also like having my own work be seen.
Then how do you balance that? Like how do you honor your father's legacy while also establishing your own voice?
Um, Me and my father have very different tastes in terms of like what films we like, what films we like to watch, styles in terms of films, and also the fact that I do more theatre. So I think that in itself already has a big separation in terms of like how we are as people. And I would say, you know, he doesn't agree with everything that I do. Like even the type of jobs I select, he doesn't agree with. But I would say the same. I can critique his films if I want to. You know, it's kind of like a fair thing. But you know, we don't take it personally as well. Yeah.
What is your advice to other female or even male young actors and actresses, those who want to get up there? Like, yeah, what's your advice for them?
Um, I would say in terms of advice, as someone who's starting out, I would say try and really put yourself out there. And it might be easy for me to say, given, you know, with the legacy that I have, and I'm probably the worst person to be giving this advice, but I would say to go and look for like forum groups. Like on Facebook, there are like a lot of groups that put out casting calls. There are even Instagram pages that are dedicated to just posting casting calls for film and theatre. Or you can also follow me, because I will post a lot of casting calls on my stories and even on my channel, because I do want people to have the opportunity to try it out if they want to try it out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, can you plug in your Instagram handle name or yeah?
Okay, so my Instagram handle is at Mia Sarash. It's Mia Sara Shauki without the Auki. Yeah.
So okay, if you had to give a shout out, which Malaysian director and or cast member would you want to work with? Like, and it can be anyone.
I would love to work with Dane Syed, a film director of Bunohan, and what's the other film? Dukun. In terms of actor, I I would like to work with Shaifa Amani. Yes.
I see, I see. And genre?
Genre,
Yeah.
rom-com,
Oh yeah,
please.
rom-com. Okay, lah, yeah, the lady, okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yes. So, who would you nominate next for Himascal to interview?
Ooh, to interview, I would nominate Aflin Shauki.
Funny story. Yeah, when we first started the whole researching about the video podcast,
Yeah.
I googled which Malaysians should we interview, and your dad's name actually came out after Shauki. I was like, oh okay, but that's not how I decided to interview you. I was looking for people in theatre, and
Yeah.
I remember seeing you on a few shows, and I messaged a few of the previous members, but they were not free.
Yeah.
And then they put me in touch with you. I was like, oh yeah, her, why not? And she is in a way Afdlin Shauki's daughter as well. That's how it came about over
Yeah.
here. Yeah, but yeah, it's while you do theatre on the side, and you do prefer it as well. Yeah, we wanted to know more about your story about being a young actress in Malaysia, lah, how it is. Oh yeah, and for the girls who might face the hanky panky, all that kind of stuff, what do you have to say to that? Any advice to them?
It is really tough. I can't say a lot because it costs my job if I did. But just know that there will be people who will be taking care of you. Like it is a small community, it is a small industry, but there are other female actresses who have gone through the same. and who will be there for you if you reach out to them. You can reach out to me if you like.
Oh yeah, so Mia, what can we look forward from you?
I have a film coming out in 2 weeks' time called Baik Punya Along, which is directed by Afdlin Shauki. And I'm currently shooting a series called Din Tiger, also directed by Afdlin Shauki, but it will be alongside Aaron Aziz, Josiah Hogan, Nina Duran, and Adam Corelli. Yes.
Cool. Well, by the time this video's out, the movie's probably out already.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's okay. Do watch it though. Do watch it, and I will have to see those as well and catch you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this interview with us.
Thank you.
All right. So normally we end it with doing the heart chart.
Okay.
And then we say Humans of KL together.
Okay.
Okay. She will do the countdown.
All right.
Humans of KL.
You are probably a very organized individual, and sometimes this organization drives you crazy. Like, why can't we just organize things this way, and then like why, and just just get everything nicely done? You're just like, no, this is the way. I have my own way of doing things. Like, and why can't you be more flexible with the way you are? Like.